5-9. The drift starts now and kickstarts this particular program. From a sad note, and one student has been confirmed dead and 10 others seriously injured after they fell into a septic tank at the Kapsabet School for the Deaf. The injured students were rushed to the Kapsabet Referral Hospital for medical attention, where hospital authorities confirmed that one of the students died upon arrival. President William Ruto visited the school to convey his condolences to the institution and to stand in solidarity with the affected students and teachers. During the visit, President William Ruto also donated approximately 5 million Kenya shillings to support the reconstruction efforts at the school. Take a look.
Sasa walikuwa wamepangwa wasiingie kwa barabara haraka kwa sababu hao watoto ni deaf na lazima wanaongozwa na walimu. Na wakasimama pale moja na hiyo shimo ilikuwa imeloa maji na ni kitambo tangu hii shule ianzishwe na ikasink.
Rescue efforts were called at 9:20 a.m. By 9:25 a.m. The first casualty was retrieved. 11 casualties were retrieved. They were rushed to Kapsabet Referral Hospital. The 11 of
lakini nimepata nafasi pia ya kuwatembelea na serikali ya Kenya imefanya ile kazi imefanya hapa. Na kwa sababu nimefika hapa, nataka kusema pole sana kwa wale watoto walipata ajali, na county government na wale wengine wote watashughulika na hiyo kazi.
All right, quite an unfortunate story right there, and our condolences to the family and friends. Moving on, patients, mostly pupils, are receiving treatment at Omalwa Kijana Teaching and Referral Hospital in Kitale after falling ill shortly after sharing mangoes at school. Doctors have confirmed that all the affected pupils are in a stable condition, and according to the reports, one pupil arrived at school early in the morning carrying 2 mangoes, which were later shared among classmates before the incident occurred. Shortly afterwards, more than 31 pupils began complaining of stomach discomfort, prompting the school to seek urgent medical attention. Health officials have since collected samples of the mangoes for the lab analysis to determine what may have caused the illness. Meanwhile, police have launched investigations to establish the circumstances surrounding the incident.
Watoto hawa ambao tuko nao mahali hapa katika Referral Hospital ya Kitale ni watoto site ya 25, na pia kuna wengine ambao walipelekwa Tulwet Health Center, wako watoto 15 kule.
Sasa nimekuwa nyumbani nikapigiwa simu ati mtoto amekula maembe. Haraka nikafika hapo kwa shule nikapata mtoto mwenyewe wameshawachukua wamepelekwa hospitali. Sasa ndio tukafuata na pikipiki na tumefika hospitali. Tumeona watoto wameshughulikiwa wako sawa, ndio hawa tumekaa nao.
Most of them had partaken in that eaten fruits which were affected or sprayed by pesticide in the morning. So the patients came in, they were roughly stable. We started our management, we gave them fluids and some medication. They weren't badly affected, so after medication they got well and they are ready to.
Moving on, the Kenya Police Service Traffic Department and the Association of Matatu Transport Owners have pledged closer collaboration aimed at reforming the country's public transport sector. This follows growing concerns over road safety, corruption, insurance fraud, and the recent suspension of the instant traffic fine system. Officials say the partnership seeks to make the Matatu sector safer, more sustainable, and more responsive to the needs of both investors and commuters across the country. Speaking during a consultative meeting between the two bodies, authorities revealed that enforcement measures will be intensified through gazetted roadblocks, while also targeting fake insurance covers that have increasingly been used by some operators. The officials further warned against the misuse of school buses for commercial passenger transport, noting that strict regulatory action will be taken against offenders.
It's not sustainable to borrow money at 20% interest rate and run a public transport. It's not sustainable. And I think that's one of the areas that we really need to make sure that this team are actually accessing right investment or rather source of financing to run public transport. The other area we may look at with them is the matters of insurance. There are a lot of fraud around insurance that are affecting them, and therefore their premiums are ever high. If you want to run a sustainable transport, these are the cost centers that you have to look at.
And we are in the process of procuring signposts that will have an inscription of a corruption-free zone and the toll-free numbers for members of the public who have witnessed police officers taking bribes along those public roads to give us online so that we act on them.
As an industry tunaangalia vile tutasonga mbele katika maneno ya IT na kuweza kuenda pande labda kuwezesha sisi kumove into the new digital era, ndio pande ya matatu tusiwe tumebaki nyuma.
Of Police Douglas Kanja has said the police service has made significant progress in weakening criminal gangs that have been threatening security in various parts of the country, while also addressing terrorism threats. Speaking during a meeting with police officers, Kanja stated that the number of reported crime cases has decreased by 5% this year compared to 2024 and by 8.4% compared to 2023. He noted that the progress has resulted from several strategies implemented by the National Police Service, including strengthening officers' capacity through regular training, harmonizing job grades and salaries, and as well as successfully recruiting new police officers. Kanja also said that the government has launched several police housing projects and increased the number of new patrol vehicles to replace older ones that were no longer functioning effectively.
Reported compared with 2024 and an 8.4% decline compared to the year 2023. Other remarkable achievements includes, but not limited to, a job group and salary harmonization, continuous capacity building, a highly successful recruitment exercise, several ongoing housing projects, and a batch of new motor vehicles replacing those that were old and unserviceable, as we await more this year, among others.
Now, the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission, that is the EACC, has urged Kenyans to embrace the new system by the National Transport and Safety Authority, that is NTSA, that allows instant fines for road users who violate traffic laws, despite the court temporarily suspending the implementation of the law until a case filed in court is heard and determined. The Commission says that the new law will significantly help in the fight against bribery on Kenyan roads. Officials made the remarks during a meeting on the management of National Government Constituencies Development Fund, that is NGCDF funds, held in Nakuru. Now, the meeting brought together 350 fund managers from the counties of Bungoma County, Kakamega County, Busia County, and Vihiga County. The Commission further revealed that it is currently investigating 67 cases of alleged misuse of funds, including one involving a businessman.
Umeweza kueleza shida za Wakenya kwamba hakuja kuwa na mjadala na raia, public participation. Pili, ile account pesa Wakenya wanaambiwa waweke, hatujui ni ya nani. Tatu, ofisi ya mkuu wa mashtaka ODPP imeondolewa. Nne, judiciary, mahakama imeondolewa. Na mwisho, zile fine hazijapeana ule mtu haki ya kujitetea.
The Commission for University Education, that is CUE, has warned that it will revoke operating licenses of universities offering courses that have not been approved. Speaking at his office, the Commission's Chief Executive Officer, that is Macharia, said that 15 universities that had been operating contrary to the law have already made the licenses revoked. Now, at the same time, universities have been urged to embrace emerging modern technologies to ensure that graduates acquire skills that will make them competitive in the global job market. Korea also advised students and parents to be cautious when choosing universities and to confirm whether the courses they intend to pursue are accredited by the relevant authorities. He noted that some students have previously been affected after graduating from unrecognized programs, making it difficult for them to secure employment or pursue further studies.
In actually that we have closed down graduation for any of the bogus universities. I think we will not tolerate, we will not allow institutions to operate in this country if they are not accredited. Of course, criminals commit crime, but they don't tell you they're about to commit crime. So you catch them in the process of their committing crime. If we do, we'll close them down. We'll hunt them down.
This is the right time for Outspan Global University to be born. Why? CBE, those Kenyans are on the way. Those Kenyans that are driven by competence. We are targeting those children that have passion. We shall embrace positively technology. AI is a friend.
The future will belong to institutions that train healthcare professionals who are not only technically competent, but also ethically grounded, compassionate, innovative, and socially responsible. This is a niche that Outspan Global University has deliberately chosen.
Now, residents of Cheptais in Mount Elgon constituency have been sensitized on how to combat the rising cases of gender-based violence reported in the area. Now, the Deputy County Commissioner of Cheptais, Philip Sigay, identified poverty as one of the major factors contributing to the violence. However, he noted that the government is working to support citizens through financial empowerment initiatives such as the Nyota Fund and the Hustler Fund to help address the problem. At the same time, Cheptais Police Commander Henry Gitonga said that many families fail to testify against perpetrators because several victims flee to the neighboring country of Uganda. Meanwhile, an official from the Shining Hope for Communities revealed that construction of a shelter for abused children is already underway in Trans Nzoia County.
Hiyo ni rahisi sana bwana akosane na bibi, hasa vile huyu amesema, kwa sababu ya nini? Ukosefu ya chakula, ukosefu wa pesa kulipia fees watoto shuleni, ukosefu wa pesa labda wakati mtu amekuwa mgonjwa, ukosefu wa pesa kwa mahitaji yote ya nyumba. Hiyo ndio tatizo ambayo inasababisha nini? Watu wakosane. Hii tumalize hii mambo ya kudhulumu akina mama ama wasema watoto, ni tuangalie mambo ya uchumi. Tutafanya nini? Tupunguze umaskini katika boma zetu. Sasa serikali imetoa pesa hasa kwa vijana, ile mnasikia hasa na fund akina mama na kadhalika. Na hizo pesa ukiweza kuomba hizo loan na kutumia, utapunguza nini?
Various leaders in Murang'a County have called on the County Liquor Licensing Board to investigate clubs suspected of selling illicit alcohol and to strengthen inspections in entertainment establishments to curb the rising spread of illegal brews in parts of the county. Speaking in Idanga during an economic empowerment event for youth and women, the leaders raised concern over the increasing sale of illicit alcohol, particularly in Gatanga and Maragua areas located close to the learning institutions. Now, they noted that the proximity to the neighboring counties such as Kiambu County and Machakos County has contributed to the spread of the illegal alcohol trade, especially in border areas. Now, the leaders are now calling for cooperation among the counties of Kiambu, Murang'a and Machakos to control the distribution of illicit alcohol along their borders and to completely eliminate the illegal business.
Katika mpaka wa Machakos na Murang'a, si serikali yetu na sisi tushikane, hiyo pombe yote ishe. Nataka kuomba county government ya Murang'a ambayo inaongozwa na Governor Kang'ata. Tunajua huu msimu ndio mna renew licenses za wale watu wanauza pombe hapa ama bar owners. Mimi ninaomba kwa heshima Governor, ukirenew license za bar owners, bar hapa Murang'a ni mingi kuliko makanisa. Na tunakuomba kwa heshima, si kila town ama shopping center inafaa kuwa na bar 3, 4.
Pombe alamu pale kwa hii mto tunapakana naye sehemu za Thika na sehemu za Machakos. Hiyo pombe yenye inapikiwa pale kwa mto bado ni mingi. Ningewaomba mkomeshe hiyo kazi na muache kuinga tabia ya wenzetu ya pande ile nyingine. Na sisi tuko na network, tutakuwa tunakuja, tunashika nyinyi, mkitoroka tunavunja hizo vyombo ndio tumekuwa tukifanya. Ndio tuhakikishe ya kwamba vijana wa pande hii wamekuwa na maisha bora na watakuwa viongozi wa baadaye.
Now, the national government plans to empower fishermen in Nakuru County through training, certification, and provision of specialized rescue equipment to enhance safety and boost the local economy. Speaking in Nakuru, the Cabinet Secretary for Mining, Ali Hassan Joho, explained that fishermen will receive training and certificates with the cost covered by the government through agencies such as the Kenya Maritime Authority and Maritime Academy. Minister of the CS Joho also announced a rescue plan for 6 lakes in Nakuru County, including Lake Nakuru, Naivasha, and Suleiman Sulai. Meanwhile, Nakuru County Governor Susan Kihika called on the government to issue fishing licenses to enable fishermen to operate legally on both Lake Naivasha and Lake Nakuru.
Neno ya fishing pale kwa Lake Nakuru. Na kwa sababu waziri wetu ni wa blue economy, atatuelezea vile tutaweza kusaidiana kama county tuweze kupata fishing licenses ya vijana wetu na hata huko Naivasha.
The next financial year, from now I'm going to tell my teams that we invest in fish landing places, fish processing places, storage ile barafu iwekwe hapo na tujenge masoko ya samaki. Watu waanze kupata pesa kupitia vyombo vya samaki na blue economy. Si namna hiyo?
Now, youth supporters of ODM backing Nairobi County Senator Edwin Sifuna have expressed dissatisfaction with the report released by Agnes Zani regarding the implementation of the Big Four agenda. Now, the youth spoke out after the civil society group Linda Mwananchi also released a similar report. While addressing the media in Nairobi, the youth complained about harassment by police during political gatherings, claiming that police continue to arbitrarily kill young people despite the agreement between President William Ruto and former ODM leader Raila Odinga.
Young people across Kenya welcome any national framework that seek to address the serious challenges facing our country, including the cost of living, governance reform, economic opportunity, and the future of our democracy. However, as youth, we also believe that national agendas must move beyond political party.
You cannot tell us that you have accomplished 80%, yet the NADCO report has not been implemented. What do I mean? What I mean is quite simple. Kenya does not have freedom of assembly. We have seen assemblies being tear-gassed. We have seen chaos. We have seen police brutality. The young people are being killed. The people of Githurai are no longer free to trade. The men and women at the Uhuru markets, their markets have been demolished.
All right, 21 minutes past the top of the hour. I do for a short breather here on the Drift Patch. We'll be back in just a bit. Right, welcome back to the program. You're watching The Drift. Now let's take a look on, the dailies today. We'll tell you what exactly the newspapers are saying. And I'm having the Daily Nation newspaper this morning, and as well as the Standard newspaper dated the 13th day of March 2026. Now let's kick it off with the Daily Nation. And the Daily Nation top story says, 2027 Supreme Dilemma. Of course, you'll remember the judiciary has actually, been doing interviews to replace Justice Mohammed Ibrahim, who died early this year. They've actually been doing interviews for the better part of 1 month. And of course, the Judicial Service Commission is recruiting a Supreme Court judge to replace Justice Mohammed Ibrahim, who died actually last December. But 2 more vacancies, one certain and the other likely in the general election year, will trigger fresh hiring in the middle of intense presidential campaigns. That's actually on page 4 and page 5 of the Daily Nation. Of course, there is a picture there, as you can see on the sidelines of your screens. There is Judges William Ouko, Njoki Ndongo, Philomena Moilo, Chief Justice Martha Koome, Smokin Wanjala, and Isaac Lenaola at the Supreme Court building in Nairobi. That was on March 9th during the closing of file proceedings held in honor of their departed colleague Mohammed Kadar Ibrahim. Now let's take a look at that particular story in regards to the dilemma in the Supreme Court 27. That's on page 4 and 5 of the Daily Nation this morning. And it continues to say that Kenya has nominated Supreme Court Judge Njoki Ndongo for the election of the International Criminal Court, that is the ICC, opening the door for potential third succession or at the top court before the 2027 general election. Now, Justice Njoki's nomination has been formally communicated to the ICC court, which will hold elections for new judges in December, while the court is actually based at The Hague in the Netherlands. The elections will be conducted in New York during the 25th Assembly of States Parties. Now, the gap from the potential exit from the Supreme Court would follow the vacancy left by one of its first 5 judges appointed in 2012. That is Justice Mohammed Ibrahim, who died on December 17th last year, and as well just 14 days before turning 70 and hitting the mandatory retirement age for judges. Now, it would also precede the retirement of Deputy Chief Justice Philomena Mwilu, who turns 70 on April 15th next year, which will be barely 3 months to the general election. Now, Kenya's elections have been, symbiotic relationship with the apex court. Only Presidents Jomo Kenyatta and Mwai Kibaki did not face the court petition challenging their election wins. Now, former president, that is Daniel Arap Moi, victories in 1992 and 1997 general elections were preserved by the High Court following petitions challenging the outcomes. President Uhuru Kenyatta, that is in 2013, win was preserved by the Supreme Court. In 2017, the Supreme Court nullified his win but dismissed petition challenging his victory in the repeat exercise. President William Ruto's 2022 victory was also preserved by the Supreme Court as well. Now, history suggests that a presidential election petition will be more likely more than not in 2027, hence shining a spotlight at the only body mandated to determine presidential election outcomes, the Supreme Court. Right now, in the past, filing Supreme Court vacancies has taken 2 to 3 months. Former Chief Justice David Maraga is the only Supreme Court judge whose recruitment was done in a month. His successor, Martha Koome, her Deputy Justice Mwilu, and Justices William Ouko and Isaac Lenaola were hired within 3 months of vacancies being advertised. Of course, the former Chief Justice William Otunga and Justices Ndongo Kalpana, Rawal, Philip Tunoi, Jackton Ojwang, Smokin Wanjala, and Mohammed Ibrahim were hired 2 months after vacancies of the Supreme Court were announced. Now, if elected, Justice Njoki will become the only and the second Kenyan to join the ICC bench after Joyce Aluoch, who sat at the Hague-based court between 2009 to 2018. That's a story exclusively on page 4 and 5 of the Daily Nation. Might want to take a look at that particular story. Moving on to other stories making headlines on the front pages of the Daily Nation. NMG share gains 28 PCN reports of boycott. Now the Nation Media Group share has gained 2.3% of its trading days following the Tuesday's announcement that Tanzanian businessman Rotsa Mazizi is acquiring a major stake in the company. Now the stock rose 7.6% yesterday to hit 2-year high of 17 Kenya shillings per share and a total valuation of 3.24 billion Kenya shillings, adding to the market leading 19.2% gain recorded on Wednesday as well on page 29 of the Daily Nation. And Stop Court suspends NTSA's instant fines. That's on page 3. Let's take a look at that. And motorists have given, were given a reprieve when the High Court temporarily halted enforcement of the National Transport and Safety Authority automated instant traffic fines system. Yesterday, the High Court issued the orders even as the authority sought to clarify the rollout of the system, including the designated account to which fines should be paid. Now, the court issued conservatory orders to stop the issuance, generation, or enforcement of automated traffic penalties pending the determination of a petition that challenged the system. Now, the orders prevented the NTSA, its Director General, and other involved agencies from issuing, generating, demanding, and forcing instant or automated traffic penalties produced through algorithmic or other automated decisions-making system. Now, the court has also barred the implementation of the instant fines traffic management system until the matter is heard. Now, this came as NTSA Director General Nahashan Kondiwa was appearing on a local TV station show where he explained that the rollout and warned motorists against paying instant traffic fines through M-Pesa or mobile money platforms due to the increase in SMS-based fraud scams. Mr. Kondiwa said that M-Pesa option will be made available at a later date once Kenyans had come accustomed to the system. That's a story on page 3 of the Daily Nation this morning. And 1 person died, 10 others injured in a school septic tank when it collapsed. That was in Kapsabet. Now, 1 people and 10 others were hospitalized with injuries after a septic tank collapsed at Kapsabet School for the deaf, that is in Nandi County, yesterday morning. Now, 5 rescuers who were injured while saving the children are also admitted to hospital but are in stable condition. Now, the pupils had gathered to watch President William Ruto, Ruto's motorcade, arrive at the neighboring Kapsabet Girls High School. And Nandi Central Sub-County Commander Maurice Okul said that the pupils succumbed to the injuries upon arrival at Kapsabet County Referral Hospital. And the rescue teams, teachers, police officers, and residents rushed to the scene and began frantic efforts to pull the trapped pupils from the collapsed structure. The deceased learner was among the 11 pupils who were initially rescued and rushed to Kapsabet County Referral Hospital, and among the 2 had been in critical condition. President William Ruto made an impromptu visit to the institution following the tragedy and donated 5 million Kenya shillings to help improve its infrastructure. Right, quite unfortunate story right there. Of course, our condolences to the family. Of course, the school fraternity as well. Now, on page 10, says tears and tension inside Raila staff crisis meeting at Capitol Hill office. That's on page 10 of the Daily Nation. Of course, there is a picture there of the former Prime Minister and party leader of the ODM party, that is Raila Amolo Odinga. Now, tears flowed and tempers flared during a tense meeting of staff of the late ODM leader Raila Amolo Odinga as sweeping shake-up of his employment unfolded behind closed doors at the Capitol Hill office in Nairobi on Wednesday, 5 months after his death. Now, the emotionally charged meeting on Wednesday, March 11th, brought together long-serving aides and administrators who, for years, formed the backbone of Odinga's political secretariat. Now, many had served the veteran opposition chief through successive election cycles, political crises, and shifting alliances, and defined the Kenya's political history. Now, but what began as a routine staff briefing quickly turned into a painful reckoning as some employees were informed their services were no longer required. Right? And among those asked to step aside was Odinga's longtime driver, Philip Juma, a familiar figure within the former Prime Minister's political orbit, who chauffeured him through some of the Kenya's most turbulent political seasons. Right? And that's a story on page 10. Quite unfortunate, where, some of the employees are now jobless. were informed, actually they were informed that their positions had become redundant following Mr. Odinga's death, 5 months after his death. All right. Well, let's take a look on what's making headlines on the Standard newspaper this morning. And top story on the Standard newspaper this particular morning says state's new jungle law. Of course, there are pictures there of men who one may term as goons or thieves. And 2 brazen attacks on properties linked to former Cabinet Secretary Raphael Tuju in Nairobi and former Principal Secretary Irongo Nyakera in Kisumu have revived fears that organized gangs are returning to the political and business arenas, often operating presently, and critics say under the watch of police. Now the hoodlums have shifted from disrupting political rallies to settling high-stake disputes of business belonging to individuals not politically aligned to the government. Of course, it's quite unfortunate because we've actually seen this happen since 2024, since the onset of the anti-government demonstrations. The finance bill actually saw people, gangs, which one may say it is actually politically motivated, because these particular people have designed batons. They have and they seem new, these batons, and one may wonder if a protester, if they can actually go by the same baton as these other ones. It seems like someone hires them and give them these batons. Now that's the story on page 4. Let's take a look at that. And on Wednesday, goons stormed Raphael Tuju's property at Dari Business Park and attempted to evict him. More than 100 strangers arrived on motorbikes during the raid. Earlier, a similar incident happened in Kisumu LBDA Mall, where thugs raided a hotel owned by Rongo Nyakera over recent squabbles. And of course, you can actually see if someone is actually, purportedly against the government, you might, meet, these challenges. Of course, the Standard says that the country is slowly sidelining into anarchy as the rule of law is relegated to the background, with former Cabinet Secretary Raphael Tuju and former Principal Secretary Rongo Nyakera becoming the latest high-profile victims of goon attacks. Now, from being sponsored to disrupt political rallies, the goons are now on standby for settling business disputes, as witnessed at the properties of Tuju and Nyakera on Wednesday, begging the question of who is the force behind these hoodlums. Now, the reemergence of goons is causing jitters among citizens who, in the recent past, have repeatedly pointed fingers on the law enforcement and the government in general for condoning the trend, which is a powder keg waiting to explode. Now, scenes of armed goons patrolling streets or interrupting political rallies have become a similar pattern that has left Kenyans worried and wondering about the deliberate interior by the relevant authorities to take action against those sponsoring, supporting, and partaking in acts of lawlessness. Now, despite the damage caused by the goons in the trial of violence, police have not gone full throttle against them, and neither has the government's top command, led by President William Ruto, come out to condemn the vice. The raid of goons at current property of Tuju is the latest in the series of similar instances witnessed in the recent past, with no action being taken against the perpetrators. That's a story on page 4 of the Standard newspaper this morning. And on page 5, matters politics. My removal was illegal, Sifuna tells tribunal. And the ODM party and its Secretary General Edwin Sifuna yesterday clashed before the political parties dispute tribunal, as Sifuna urged the tribunal to quash the February 11th resolution that purported to remove him from office, describing it as flawed, unconstitutional, and procedurally defective. Now, ODM, on the other hand, argued that the process was lawful and that Sifuna had jumped the gun by filing the case before the party's internal mechanisms were exhausted. Now, at the heart of the complaint is Article 74 of the ODM Constitution, which requires the National Executive Committee, that is NEC, to give an office bearer adequate notice and the opportunity to respond to allegations before effecting removal. Now, Okero submitting that these requirements were floated entirely in Sifuna's case. Now, his ouster, he further alleged that was not listed as the agenda item at the February 11th Mombasa meeting, which was scheduled to discuss routine party matters, including confirmation of minutes, Azimio coalition developments, and preparations for a national delegates convention. Now, Okero also challenged ODM's claim that its internal dispute resolution mechanism had been followed, noting that the resolution was publicly communicated via party's X handle, which contradicted the requirements for the internal process. That's as well on page 5 in regards to, the removal of Edwin Sifuna as the SG of ODM party, which was actually on February 11th. And now, the SG argues that, the process was unconstitutional according to Article 74 of ODM constitutional, the Constitution. And we've actually seen, the differing views from members of ODM party, and we've seen the rift is actually deepening. Now we have the Linda Grant faction and as well as the Linda Mwananchi faction, where the Linda Grant faction, as the party leader actually say that they are seeking for power, and the Linda Mwananchi faction says that, of course, led by Edwin Sifuna and James Orengo Babu, and the likes, actually saying they're there for the Mwananchi. All right, that's a story on page 5 of the Standard newspaper this morning. And in the corridors of justice, Jumwa compelled to pay her arrears on 250 million house. Now the High Court in Nairobi has cleared the way for Bejav Furniture Limited to pursue former Cabinet Secretary for Gender Aisha Jumwa over the 250 million house she purchased in 2023. Now Justice Wayua Mungare upheld an arbitrator's ruling granting the company the right to recover 60 million Kenya shillings part of the original deal. The judge noted that Jumwa was presented by a lawyer during arbitration but chose to remain silent. Emails showed that she was aware of the proceedings, yet did not pay the arbitrator's deposit, forcing Bejav to cover an extra 150,000 Kenya shillings. And now the property is located in Karen, where Jumwa negotiated the price down to 215 million Kenya shillings, secured 145 million from KCB, and agreed to pay the remainder over 12 months. Now she paid 10 million but has not settled the balance. Wamboi filed the debt recovery, initially seeking bankruptcy proceedings, which were referred to mediation. Jumwa, through her lawyers, argues that the matter should be struck out, claiming disputes fall under arbitration. That's a story as well on page 4 of the Standard newspaper. Now, the Standard on page 3 actually says Vasha roars to life as Safari Rally begins. Now, once again, Naivasha is a hive of activity. The landslide, or the lakeside town, is becoming the confidence of all fronts, fueled by the roar of engines that began with renaissance on Monday, scrutiny on Wednesday, and the ceremony will start of the 2026 WRC Safari Rally yesterday. Now the rally was brought money into the town, along with love visitors, revelers, conmen, and as well as local and international dignitaries, and every man of excitement. Now the hospitality industry is booming right now. Accommodation is being sought with great zeal. Airbnb's style rentals, which normally charge 3,000 per day for one bedroom stay, have jumped to 6,500 Kenya shillings. Now single rooms that usually go for 1,000 Kenya shillings have been upgraded to 2,500 Kenya shillings, and all have been snapped up. Now taxi operators, border riders in the town, and PSV vehicles ferrying passengers from Nakuru to Nairobi are extremely busy. Karagita Beach along Moi South Lake Road has sprung to life, with visitors flocking to the lakefront to enjoy freshly prepared fish caught by the senior fishermen. Now, boat riders and are a bobbing business here, and no visit ends without visitors taking photos for keepsakes. Entertainment joins and full of life. Now, some spots have increased prices, but the beer still flows. It's their turn, to reap the reward. Several venues have brought in live brands, with others have imported top DJs from Nairobi to attract more clients. Now, across the 20 rally stages, there are air of the camaraderie, Ugandan fans, and the rally hunters bring increased vibe, right? That's a story on page 3 of the Standard newspaper. Of course, there are actually 20 stages this year. WRC Safari Rally involves 20 competitive stages, right? Of course, I don't know whether you'll be, heading to Naivasha, for this WRC. Of course, I guess it is actually scheduled to, it was actually scheduled to start on 12th day of March, which is today, which will go on and on to until I don't know when, maybe 4 days to the 3 days. And it is quite important, to attend such events, so that you can, get, to know and understand how this sports actually goes. All right, so now on page 2, final 10 nights of Ramadan marks peak of prayer, seeking forgiveness. That's as well on page 2. Of course, we remember that our Muslim brothers and sisters actually in their holy month. All right, now it is exactly 50 minutes past the top of the hour. Taking another short breather here on the drift, but when we come back, we're going to have a discussion with a renowned actor. He'll be going to share his journey on the film industry, how he got into the film industry, and how has the journey been, how is film industry at now. All right, I miss that particular conversation that's coming up to you next in just a bit. All right, welcome back to the program. Just in case you're joining us, this is The Drift. My name is Macharia, and of course, this particular morning, we're going to discuss matters film. All right, so stay put for that particular conversation. This morning, I'm joined by John Collier. Of course, many of you know him as Dr. Cliff from the Neema Show. He is a renowned actor. Of course, he'll be going to tell us, how the journey has been. Alianza kuwa kitakiwa shule ama aliingiaje kwa industry na kajipataje place ako sahi. So start engaging us on our socials at EBN TV Kenya. We're live on Facebook at EBN TV Kenya, and as well as on YouTube. And you can as well send us your feedback through our SMS line, that is 23059. Our WhatsApp line is working, 0740653453. Send us your feedback, and I'll be sampling some of your feedback if you want to proceed with this particular program. So good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Of course, many thanks for making time to be with us here this particular morning.
It's my pleasure.
Even as we build the basis of this particular conversation, someone who might, not know you, tell us who you are and who John Collier and Dr. Cliff is.
Okay.
Yeah.
My name is John Collier. I'm an actor and a commercial model. And Dr. Cliff is actually an acting name or a screen name for the character that I was acting during that time in Neema.
All right.
Yes.
And I've been here with several actors, including Kieran Popo. I guess you know him. He actually told us that most of the actors, when before getting into the industry, they actually start from the drama festivals, the shule pale, and then you get into theater.
Yeah.
And then you transition then to on screen. So how has the journey been?
My journey started way back in a primary school. In my primary school, we used to have this music, dance, and drama. And those days, we used to compete up to national level. And that is where I started acting. And I was in drama, I was in choir, and I loved dramatized dances. You know those dance that you dramatize as you dance. Yeah, there is that element of acting and there's that element of music. So I started way back in primary school.
That was in. So you've actually done this for roughly how many years?
It's almost 20 years. Yeah, way back 20 years. But now in secondary school is when it began more serious because there were more facilities and more focused coaching and things like that. So when in high school, we used to come up to the national level with the music, dance, and drama. Yeah, that's where I really my talent was. And the person who has really nurtured it back from the beginning was actually my mother. Yeah, she used to sing a lot. You know, those folk tales, you know, that kind of thing. So she really pushed me towards it, and I liked it, and it just gelled within me.
All right.
Yes.
And you spoke about your mother. Now, I want to then ask the question, you know, most of the times when you tell your mother or your guardian for that matter that you want to do acting, you want to do modeling, you want to do, you know, they don't take these careers as serious as, you know, the white collar jobs.
Yep.
So, from where you sit, do you think, you know, maybe a student who wants to venture in acting, is it a career that you can actually, you know, that can actually sustain someone?
Yeah, now it can sustain because now it is a career that is paying. It is actually a gift that is, you know, it moves you to places. It is something that is paying. Those days it used to be, you know, just for entertaining purposes. But nowadays is a venture that pays, a venture that makes you known. You get brands to endorse you. You get, you know, activities to do, but at the end of the day you are paid. You don't do it for free. So it's actually a paying venture, of which I can tell maybe the upcoming artist or the student or things like people like those to come in strongly, because now it pays. Now there are facilities. Now there is a lot of government initiatives towards it, and there's a lot of facilitation that can enable you to act and get paid. It's now just like footballers and these other creative arts. Because with acting, you really, you know, you emulate what others do, or that character. It gives you now that the way you survive, and it pays. Actually, it pays.
All right, now you've left us. Umetuacha katikati. Umetuambia, you know, you started way back in in primary school.
Primary, yes.
You transitioned to high school. You used to do drama and you know those folk tales, tongue twisters, yes. So tell us about, you know, the journey before tuanze kukujua, before you came to the limelight. How did that, you know, come to life?
Actually, it went down a little bit when I was after high school. When I joined, you know, the college, it wasn't there much, and now I focused on my other career because I'm also a social worker actually. So in the college, I studied social work and community development, and to me, it's like it went down. And then from there, I started now working as a social worker. And when I was working with the Kenya Red Cross, because I was the Kenya Red Cross youth officer for Mount Elgon, I started reviving it again by, you know, teaching the members of how they can, you know, bring out their issues through drama and things like that. But myself, I wasn't practicing it. So when I left the Kenya Red Cross, I joined another organization called the Himelo Foundation in Somalia. So there again, it went down. But when I came back to Nairobi, I started really pushing it. And you know, to enter into this world is a bit tricky. You have to follow you have to find one actor, or maybe go to the Kenya National Theatre to find your way. But me, I see there was a guy who we act together at high school, and this guy, saw him on the billboards advertising one of these brands. And actually it was a flour brand. So I said, this guy, I know him. And we used to act together, and I was even better than him those days. So I started following up. So when I catched up with him, he told me now how to go about it, how you can get casted, how you can venture into film now on a limelight now in the bigger screens and in much wider view. So it's this guy that really enabled me now to understand better, to know better how I can come into TV and such stuff.
All right.
Yeah.
Now let's talk about the Neema show. It's actually a big show. So how did you get yourself into that particular show? Did you go for auditions? Did you know someone who was casting, the casting director who was casting people? How did you find yourself in that particular show?
Actually, before then, I was doing a lot of we call it extras. Extras are these people or actors who are not main who are not main in the, or the supporting actors in the film or in that series, but they're very, very important. And most people, I always tell them that I was one of the very, very professional special appearances, professional actors, extras. So I've been in several shows. I was in Kina, it was on Maisha Magic, I was in Q, I was in just one-offs, that kind of extras. So when Neema was being taken as for auditions, I didn't attend auditions actually, and when the show continued is when I was called by one of the actors there. They want a certain person with a certain characteristic to suit to be a friend to one of the main actors, who was Mark. So they looked around, and I was one to be taken from the previous shows, because I was also in Izari, the same production that Jiffy does. The Jiffy production does Sari and other shows. So I think they saw me what I was doing there, and they knew that I could handle the character of Dr. Cliff.
All right.
So actually, to me, I was say from my previous work, I was called. I didn't attend audition for Neema actually.
All right.
Yes.
And have you ever done the theater acting?
Theater, I'm not so much into theater. I've only done once here and there, not set books, but some few plays. So me, I was just taken direct from I can say from high school into film, into screen directly. It's now when I'm now again going back to theater, to some few plays that I can appear and I can do it. Right. So most people go through that system, others jump, it depends on how the casting director has seen you and how you can perform during the show.
All right.
Yes.
Now you've already entered the Neema show. You've been given, submitted with scripts.
Yes.
So what's the process of, before you go to act? Do you guys do, rehearsals, and how do you actually cram the lines? How do you do that?
Actually, when you are given a character, there is something they call, Bible reading or Bible way, where you have to analyze this character,
get to
understand this character, actually memorize this character, how you can bring out the character. So that character is no longer John Collier, is now Dr. Cliff. How is the writer? So Dr. Cliff, how can he bring out the character of Dr. Cliff in the show? So they give you the script, you go through it. You have to, I don't say memorize or cram, it is internalizing. You have to internalize the lines, and when these lines come out, they have to bring with your facials and the way you appear, you have to bring that character out. And it has really to go according to the writer of the script, because when he was writing, he visualized this Dr. Cliff, how Dr. Cliff will look like, this age, how this guy looks like. So when you are given a script, you have to go according to the writer. So you will have to, internalize lines, give yourself time to see yourself before you speak. You see yourself in the mind, you see yourself in the show already. So you have to see yourself how are you going to flow? How is it going to flow? Is it really according to the directives you're given? So it is a matter of internalizing your character and knowing exactly what to bring out at each moment.
All right, and you've been in the industry, the film industry, and many times we see, people bringing out, the emotional scenes. So how do they do that? Is it some time back I used to see people using onions to make this person cry. So how do they come about with bringing the emotion?
The emotions, yes. When you read the script, you understand that this person here is talking with anger. So how can you bring out an anger? So as a character, you know the thing is inside you. It's like a footballer. If you are telling him to dribble the ball, there are some things that just come naturally. So you have to
crying comes naturally.
Crying comes naturally. Some you have to bring out a certain emotion or thing you went through in life. You can remember something you lost. You can remember something maybe you're excited about and things like that. So you internalize and know how to bring that emotion. It just comes, when you are in it and you're talented, it just comes naturally. When somebody's anger, how can this person speak? How can this person bring out that emotion? So it is something that comes natural, unless maybe when it is not coming is when maybe you are induced to make sure that it comes. It has to come.
The camera tricks.
Yeah. Sometimes, but mostly camera tricks are very, very minimum. Very minimum. They really the Kenyan films or these other major films, you really has to be as natural as possible. Yes.
All right. And 20 years plus.
Yes.
What are some of the challenges that you've faced?
The major challenge number one is what we call the facilities. When you are down there because I grew up in rural area, it's difficult to get a theater hall with all equipped stuff, and also it's not easy to be recognized those days. But nowadays things have changed. There's technology, there is a lot of facilitation from government institutions, there is a lot of sensitization, especially through the Kenya Film Commission, which really is doing a lot of a good job, because they are moving around, sensitizing people, actors, giving them platforms, giving them venues and things like that. Another thing is also about maybe access to these facilities. Some people cannot access, some people are advantaged to access. But as a person who is determined, as a person who has that in you, you really have to find your way. And especially now, like the Gen Z type now, everything is at their disposal. There's a lot of, the funds are there, the facilities have been provided. So it's upon you now, and now it is a personal initiative to move on.
All right, you've mentioned the government, and as opposed to the musical industry, the MCSK.
Yes.
Some of the artists actually say, they've received maybe 2,000 bob, 1,000 bob. So how is that in the film industry? Is the government supporting film industry?
So government is supporting a lot actually through the Kenya Film Commission, as I've said. They're doing a good job, and also through the theatre, the Kenya National Theatre, they're also doing a lot of good job. There's other entities that also support, and also the producers. When a film is being produced, there is a lot that goes on behind the scenes. So there's that casting, there is that making sure that the actors are well, and also there is an association called the Actors Guild, Kenya Actors Guild. It's also doing a good job, because it is what can I say? It's like an organization for actors to get their rights, to get care, to take care of their welfare and stuff like that. So actually, per now, Kenya is doing well in terms of film. Because I think to 2025, it was recognized together with Egypt and Morocco to be a destination for filmmaking. So, and I've pumped in some good money. So it is now well. It is not like those days. But now we are seeing some tremendous improvement, especially in film here. Yes.
All right. And what are some of the gaps in the film industry? We actually saw during 2000 to 2010, 2011. We actually saw some of the programs. The kids. There's a program used to run on a local TV station which involved the kids. Now shows that involve kids, they're actually minimal. So from where you sit as an actor in the film industry, what are some of the gaps that you are seeing in the film industry?
The major gap actually it is about funding. because these filmmakers, they need a lot of funds and a lot of motivation and a lot of market and distribution of this content. So actually, lack of funding is the major, because somebody, you can write your script very well, and then you have all the characters of those children and how you want them to develop, but you lack now the funds now to propel it into market. So actually, a lot of filmmakers are going through, I can say, some hell because of funds, because it's expensive to produce a series, it's expensive to produce a film. So when funds can be available, it can be easy for these programs to run. And nowadays the platforms are there, but now funds is another problem, because the cameras, all the equipment that are required to bring out a movie or a series or what is a bit expensive. So that's why you see, you just find some few working, and they have a lot of workload. Maybe they're working on a series. Before the series end, another one comes, and now films of maybe that involve children might not have much space. Yes, and also it depends on the market out there.
All right.
The drive for market.
You've mentioned about funds, and we're having a debate. Someone saying that if someone actually wants to create employment, the person actually ought to look at the film industry, because they employ drivers, makeup artists, actors, cameras, camera persons, and what about
even the chefs, the cook, the catering department? It
takes a village.
A lot. People always just see something there for 2 minutes. But those 2 minutes, there was a cook, there was a driver, there was, cameraman, lights, and all that.
And then they start criticizing.
They start criticizing. But there's a lot of work in film. So we appreciate, yes.
All right. And moving on to some of the feedback. Valentine Gillo actually says, Dr. Cleve, we love you. Our Christ Fellowship Center chairman. Faith Mbatia says, watching live from Kamango, that is in Kikoyo.
Thank you.
Valentino Gillo again, watching from CFC Githurai Mombi. Dr. Cliff, you are a star. We love your resilience and commitment, not only in acting, but in community work and church. Pastor Steve Kahure says, watching from Christ Fellowship Center, that is in Githurai 45. Mwengi Dimzungu says, watching from Githurai 45, that is in Mombi. Getty Getrey, watching from Dandora, and good morning. MC wa Rengai Nyongesa, I hope I got that right. Mushanga Cabras na wakilisha mtaa. Those are some actually of the, some of the feedback that are coming in through our Facebook page. Now, Dr. Cliff, even as we wind up, tell us about someone who actually wants to to join the film industry, someone who has done set books in school, someone who is in a drama club in school, someone who has done theater, someone who has auditioned, because I remember Kieran Bobo actually said that many a times that he has auditioned but amekataliwa. He actually said that these things happen. Hata kama ni stars, hata kama kuna roles unaenda, and then unakwambia uwezi role. So this person who feels he wants to quit the film industry, he has the talent but he wants to quit, what would you tell that person?
Actually, film is like another business or like another career. It has its ups and downs. You cannot be accepted in every role. You cannot be, accepted in every audition. Like for me, I've done more than 100 auditions, both on commercial, terms, and also on films. And film has different. There's series, there are movies, and then there are short films. So I've done a lot of auditions, but I will tell them not to give up, because if you have that drive in you, you will never give up, because at the end of the day, you are giving up now to do what? And that's the passion. So I've told you I'm a social worker. But the passion for film overrides the passion for my career, the ones that I went to school. So I just want to encourage them that you don't give up. Just continue. One day you'll get it. Like for me, I've done like 100 auditions. Is when now I gotten one for Dr. Cliff. And now you see, it's only that one, that Dr. Cliff role that has propelled me to an international level. But meanwhile, I was also acting, and down there I was there. But now it is about the resilience and the drive never give up. Always just push. One day, your day will come.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, you'll just be happy. And it's a lot of work and a lot of patience, because you can sit maybe for a month or two, you haven't gotten any work. And you have a family, you have your responsibilities, you have your duties, you have your bills to pay. So you have to really to be resilient. And when you are focused and you are resilient, and you know that drive is pushing you somewhere, eventually God will see that work, and eventually you'll get one that will come. Itakutoa kwa shimo.
Yeah. Right.
Yes.
And you've played varieties of characters. Now I would ask the question then, what's your memorable character in ulifanya ukasema wa this me?
There was let me just say Dr. Cliff character, because this one has really I can say it brought a lot out of me, some things that even I didn't know, some things that I used not even to do. Now I can do because of this character. There was that boldness, that that kind of energy. I used not to have it. I used to do just good characters. I used to be just to do characters like a lawyer, a doctor. I mean, a doctor, yes, a teacher, a detective, and all that. So this role has really given me the boldness, the courage, and also there's another role I did of a detective. That really also brought some other character in me that I used not even to do or to think about. As detectives, you have to think beyond the normal. There's some killing somewhere, you have to know all that kind of stuff. So those two characters, being a detective and being a doctor, it is something that has really brought up the inner part of me that I used not to have. Yes, like the role of Dr. Cliff also. Actually, according to the writer, it didn't have much of my medical practice. It was much of being the friend side of the main character, because you are seen like a mirror. You know more about this guy that these other people don't know. So it went that line more than the profession of being doctor now, like treating people.
All right.
So it was wonderful.
All right. Now, even as we wind up, I can see we're ahead of time, and. What are some of the upcoming projects? Are you working on something now, and what should your fans expect?
Now I'm much into commercial modeling, and by commercial modeling I mean advertisement. I'm so much into advertisement of products, advertisement of services and stuff like that. So acting, it comes once in a while, but I'm now focusing on how I can grow myself as a brand more for marketing, because I have the ground, I have the funds, I have the people. So I want to turn those people, that ground into commercial basis. How can I use your product? How can you use me to get people to buy your product? So I'm into more of commercial modeling and things like that, and it's really working out well, and I thank God about that.
All right, now even as we wind up, I don't know if you mind giving out your socials. Someone may want to reach you out to give you, want you to advertise, you'll be their brand ambassador. So using that camera, tell us where people can find you.
Okay, you can find me on Facebook. I'm John Collier on Facebook. On TikTok, I'm 7 Collier on TikTok. And on Instagram, I'm John Collier on Instagram. So you can find me there.
All right, thank you so much, Dr. Cliff, Mr. John Collier.
Thank you very
so
much
for making time to be with us here and for honoring our invite here at EBN Television. We do appreciate your time.
Thank you very much also for hosting me. And client out there, I'm here for marketing, so you can get me to market your products.
All right, appreciate it. Yes. All right, I was joined by Dr. Cliff from the Neema show. As most of you actually know him, he has been in several shows, including Kina, Neema, and of course those big shows. His actual name is actually John Collier, right? And now he is also a model You said commercial mode.
Commercial mode, yeah.
All right, so you can reach out to him on his socials. Thank you so much, Lauren Kelly, Geoffrey Muimi, Simon Peter Othek, Kadi Wanjugu, Faith Mbatia, Dasmchiki, Cindy Angela, Damaris Nyamancha, Pastor Steve Kahure, Mish Sami M Morunga, Chima, just about to name a few. Nasema asante sana for your feedback here on the program. You've been watching The Drift. Thank you so much for always being with us every Friday. It is a Feel Good Friday where The Drift comes to you every Friday 7 a.m. to 8:30 a.m. See you on the next episode. Coming up next is the Leadership Challenge Show at the top of the hour at 9 a.m. Martin Macharia is my name. I've been your host for this particular episode. Have yourself a lovely day. Enjoy the rest of your viewing, and as always, let's do this again when God says we do.